Okay, right. So, hi friends, here is one of my favorite mentors, 2020. I had been following him for the past 4 to 5 years. And if I knew anything about Neville Goddard, that is because of 2020. And we'll get to know more about him and his journey. So, hi 2020, how are
Hey,
you?
I am amazing. How are you?
I'm fine too. So I call him TT, friends. So that's the short form of 2020. So I just call him as TT. So TT, please tell me what is the story behind changing your name to 2020 and what is your original name?
Wow. So my original name, I was named after John the Baptist.
Okay, okay,
And when you study Neville and he talks about John the Baptist is the state of doing violence to your desires. And
okay.
oh my God, was I good at that? It's funny that I was given that name, but I lived it. I did violence to all my desires. I felt guilty about sex. I tried to stay poor. I struggled a lot. I was even sickly as a kid because, like, of course, I desired to be healthy, but then I imagined it was complicated, and so all that stuff. But when I got older, I'll give you the cool version of the story. I was reading Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill like 12 years ago or so, maybe 13, and in one of the recordings of him actually speaking about Think and Grow Rich, he says he couldn't come up with a title for the book. And his publisher says, I'm giving you till like Thursday, and then I'm going to call it Use Your Noodle to Get the Boodle. And Napoleon Hill said, that'll ruin me. That'll ruin the book. It'll bomb. And he went to bed that night and he basically said, give me a title for the book. And he woke up with Think and Grow Rich. And I thought, well, that's a cool story. I'm going to do that with what I do. So I went to bed and it's like, look, I need a name. I need a title. I need something that reveals what I'm all about to take it to the next level. And I woke up not one morning, but 4 mornings in a row with change your name to 2020, the number of perfect vision.
Oh, okay.
And so the whole thing about, and my main message, as you've probably figured out, is I want you to live a life of vision. And here we are.
Yes. And see, in the 2020, I get to interview 2020.
Yes,
That's
the
that.
year of
Yes.
vision.
Yeah. So, okay. So, Titi, here is my first question about Neville Goddard. So, this interview is going to be, so how did you get attracted towards Neville's work? And before that, who was Neville? What did he do so much that you got attracted towards his work?
It's funny because I'll start with how I found Neville and then how I rejected him. Because I was like 12 years old
Mhm.
and I used to walk a mile and a half every weekend to a little bookstore out in the country that sold used books. And I'd buy a stack of books and I'd walk home with them. And I'd go through the books. Yeah, they were like 20 cents a piece or something, dirt cheap. And
Yeah.
so I'd go through the books on the way home. And if there were any that I decided I didn't want, I'd just pitch them in the rubbish bin. So I'm buying things like How to Make Friends and Influence People and Think and Grow Rich and all that stuff. And one of them that I bought the one week was a Neville Goddard book. And I read through it real quick and it had too much scripture in it. And it was like, nah, I'm pitching this one. I got some good shit, but I gave it a pitch.
Yeah.
And so the second time I came across Neville, I was in Amway. And my upline said, hey, here's a book that you got to read. And I gave it a read, and it's like, okay, I got some more good stuff, right? Imagine all that good stuff. But it's like, it's still too churchy for me. So I walked away from it. And the third time was I was experiencing the events of the promise. And so I'm experiencing all these weird ass things. And it's like, oh my God. So I started looking up things on the internet that read about Kundalini awakening. And a lot of it's just a mixed bag of nuts. And it's like, well, there was this weird guy, Neville God, something like that. I remember him talking about that in this one book I read. And so I picked up a Neville book and it's like, all right, here we go. This is my guy. And what had me fall in love with Neville was Neville taught from experience. He learned from some lovely people, but everything he taught from personal experience, and I really respect and admire that. And the more I read Neville, the more I found, well, he's sharing what I do, and he's saying it better. So let's get him out there and get me out there and just make a difference in the world. Have some fun.
Okay, so before getting into, because the audience would be hearing Neville over till the end of this interview. So can you just give a little story behind who this Neville Goddard is?
Cool. So Neville was a young man who was born on the island of Barbados, and at some point he had the vision that he wanted to go to New York City and preach the word of God. And so he'd already learned something about manifesting from his father. And so Neville goes to New York City. His family manifests a building that totally changes the business. And like 10 years later, 11 years later, something like that, Neville meets a fellow named Abdullah, who was an Ethiopian Jewish mystic. And he starts hanging out with him and learning his stuff. And long story short, Neville just really puts it into simple terms. Imagining creates reality. Your awareness of being is God. And he went on to write books and give lectures for decades. And he just kept it simple and kept it about you.
Okay, that's nice. Well, that was a short and sweet description about Neville. So, Titi, you often talk about feel it real, feel it real, feel it real. So, what is the difference between feel it real, fake it till you make it, or live as if? So, could you please differentiate? Some people ask,
Sure.
like, fake it till you make it, fake it till you make it, but that doesn't drive. Or live as if you're already successful, but that doesn't also come. Like, but feel it real makes more sense. So, could you please help understand the difference between these terms?
I love the way you put them, because if you till you make it, you obviously haven't made it, but you might look nice. If you act as if, well, if I went to the dog park and I was faking it till I made it, walking around with a leash without a dog, people would think I was crazy. And the same thing, if I went to the dog park and I was acting as if I had a dog, they'd all think I was crazy. But feeling it real, yeah, for, I don't know, maybe 2-3 years, Victoria and I imagined having 2 dogs. And we just, all right, we're going to be puppy parents. All right, and what happened was, when we entered into the state of loving puppy parents and stayed there, we started making decisions on what to put in the garden, how to construct the gates, the fences, so that we could keep puppies in once we had them. Wouldn't you know? So we're living in the state of loving puppy parents. My buddy Andrew Maxwell has a puppy, but he can't keep it because he's moving. So his wife calls us up and says, hey, or they both call us up and say, hey, do you want a puppy? And I was like, yeah, we'll take him. And so we got our first one. And then we're at the dog park one day, and this lady comes up to me and she tells me about this other dog named Bruce. And it's like, I got to take Bruce. I saw a photo of him. He's gorgeous. She tells me that he's in a cage, in a box. He's having a rough time. And 10 minutes before that, I was with some friends, and I said, you know what? I cannot imagine putting a dog in a box. That just ain't right. And here she is telling me about Bruce, this dog in a box, and there's no way she heard the conversation. And it's like, all right, there's my other dog. So feeling it real brought us 2 dogs. Acting as if we had a dog would have people go, right, he's a nice guy, but he's nuts, so we're not going to give him a dog. So that, to me, is the big difference right there.
Wonderful. And Titi, could you please tell about your Feel It Real pack that you have created?
I tell you, the cool little one that we came up with is the Feel It Real Power Pack. I mean, we've got a bunch of stuff, as you know.
Yes.
But the Feel It Real Power Pack, what I really like about that is it's not that big and it's not that much. And when I say that, like, I think the handbook is 30 pages and it comes with maybe 2 hours of recording, something like that. And of course, there's some bonuses and stuff. But to me, this stuff is meant to be done, not studied forever. And the basics, and this is one of the things, again, I'll go back to Neville. What I love about Neville is he kept the message simple, but he explored it for decades. And that's what we do. We keep the message simple. It's all about you. Do these couple key things, but you can explore how that happens and how to do it in you. You know, you can explore you forever. So it keeps it simple and makes it easy and fun.
Wonderful. So, friends, if you want to explore Neville, I would highly recommend to visit freeneville.com. Here, Titi, you have written vast amount of articles. You keep creating videos on Philitrial series. So, what inspires you to keep spreading Neville's work so much?
Your smile. The only thing I want in life is your success. Because what I notice is most people that go through life passively reacting to the world. And it's like, I want more playtime and more playmates. I'm selfish. I want you to succeed wildly. I want you to, if you want to come to Australia and bring me a box of cigars. I just want you to live the life you want to live, because when I had post-traumatic stress disorder when I was 23, that happened because I was trading time for dollars as a prison guard. No little boy, when they're 7 years old, says, I want to grow up and be a prison guard. I became a prison guard so I could pay the bills and feed my family. And then all that happened. And it's like, I had this massive wake-up call and this lovely opportunity to go, right, what do I want to do with my life? I want to create a life where, that I truly love, that I truly enjoy, that truly blesses people, not a life where I tell people to lock up in their little cage, which is what a prison guard is and what they do. And what drives me every single day are the success stories. And the more I put out there, I mean, we just reached 1 million listens on our podcast. We're at over 900,000 views on our YouTube channel.
Wonderful.
To me, these little things, it's like every day, if I put up a video, if I put up an audio, if I share an article, we've got like 1,000 articles, that blesses people. And then you guys send me your success stories, and it's like, dude, yeah, that's what it's all about.
Wow, so awesome. And Titi, this Neville talks about revision, and you even created a course on it, revision. So, can we really change the past? Can we do, like, once we revise, what happens? What is this revision all about?
You know, I used to say you can't change the past. Okay. First thing I'll say is, let's pretend it doesn't matter. But I'm going to keep going, because it's like, I remember the prison riot. I remember growing up poor. I remember a lot of things, but I've revised them so that they don't impact me anymore. And one of the things that really gets me is, so let's say I revised the prison riot so it doesn't bother me anymore in any way. That's cool. But what else have I revised that I don't even remember? Because if you totally revise something to the point where it didn't exist and something else does, you won't remember. And to me, that's fine. Some people say, well, then I don't care. All I know is revision has changed my life. When I first moved to Australia, we've got very heavy firewood here. It's like cement. It's heavy. And I'm carrying it in the house every day. And this old damage I had to my elbows from the riot, I got to the point where I couldn't type. And it's like I was typing 3 articles a day on the freeneville.com project, and now I can't type. And so I'd go to bed every night, and I'd imagine having typed a bunch of pages that day. I'd wake up in the morning, and I'd imagine I would revise that the night before that my arms felt great. And then at some point, my arms stopped hurting, and they haven't hurt since. And I don't know when that happened. I don't know at all when it happened. But all I know is one day I woke up and I realized my arms haven't hurt for months. I can't remember the last time they hurt.
Wow.
And it's that kind of stuff there that I tell people, like, I had a guy one day, he says, I wish I would have learned Neville in high school. And I said, cool, go back. Right? Go back to high school. Just imagine that you were reading a Neville Goddard book, right? Every day. And like 6 months later, he contacts me. He goes, you know what? Suddenly this has become really easy. Like I've been doing it all my life. And I said, well, you have. But guess what? You revised. You revised, man. So how cool is that?
Amazing, amazing, wonderful. And Titi, you always talk about imagine lovingly. This kind of is not acceptable so easily. Like, mother-in-law said something, father-in-law said something, manager said something, my boss is not good. So how can a person imagine lovingly about the person who hurts them? And what is the benefit of that? Why should we imagine lovingly? Why is forgiveness so important? Why do you emphasize so much on that?
Wow. So forgiveness is forgetting, according to Neville.
Okay.
And I really get how powerful this is because I'll tell you one of my secrets. When people are like being bitchy with me,
Mhm.
while I'm listening to, while they're speaking, I'm hearing something else.
Mhm.
And it's funny because I don't interrupt them. I let them talk. Whatever they do, they do. But I'm just imagining, how would I feel? Remember, action is self-predominant. How would I feel if they were actually happy? And it,
Okay.
and at some point, I mean, it's shocking how often it's like either they go away or they get
Mhm.
happy. And so, and all right, and if they go away, I mean, I still imagine them happy. It's easier then. But whatever it is, it's like, all right, it's like our interview. Before our
Mhm.
interview, I'm imagining that you and I crushed it and had a great time. And as soon as I see it, I imagine, oh my God, here we go, right? Boom, it was great. So
Yes.
always, always, always leading.
Wow, awesome. So, Titi, this everyone is ourself pushed out. Everyone is ourself pushed out. What is this Neville talking about? You also keep like, so am I yourself pushed out? Are you myself pushed out? So, what is this all about? Could you please explain?
That is the one Neville phrase right now. There's like three Neville phrases that I'm not a fan of right now.
Mhm.
And that's one of them. Because what I see people doing is they'll go this, well, Mr. 20, if everyone is me pushed out, then it's okay for me to imagine this person as my soulmate, make them get divorced, and then marry me. And I just go, right, whatever. You know, Here's what I notice. You are in my life in a very specific way.
Mhm.
I imagine a friend. I imagine a compatriot. I imagine someone who's making a difference in the world doing what they want to do. And here we are having a chat. So are you pushed me out? Am I you pushed out? It just gets weird to me. Versus when I get, you know what, this guy shows up in my life the way he does because of what I'm imagining for you and what I'm imagining about you. And it just makes it lovely and loving that way.
Okay. Okay. So extending this concept, Titi, because now, oh my God, so many Neville Goddard groups on Facebook, and here comes attract your special person, or some talk about attracting the qualities. So any suggestions to the singles or who are going through this relationship issues? What should one focus on? Should they focus on specific person, or should they focus on the qualities of the person that they want to have in their life partner?
Oh, you're a tricky little one. Yeah. That's a delightful question, my friend, because here's what I notice. If you make it about them, then you're looking for signs. And it just gets crazy. Uh, if you make it about qualities, then you have a list. And so if I've got a list of qualities and I go, okay, how many of these does Victoria tick the box of? It just, love is not of the head. Love is of the heart. And so my solution, and this is my guaranteed win way to manifest love, I live from the state of happy, loving husband. And what happens is Victoria experiences me as someone she could marry, someone she'd be happy to be with. And it just makes it, because we all know girls. I mean, there's some girls you look at and you go, damn, should be fun for the weekend, because that's what she's imagining about herself. There's another girl you look at and you go, oh my God, should make a great mom. You look at another girl and you go, oh, wow, I'd love to marry her. And it's all what they're imagining about themselves. And so when you let it just be about you, when I made it 100% happy, loving husband, all right, it takes all the pressure off of her, and it guarantees that I am a happy, loving husband.
Wonderful, wonderful. So singles or anyone who is confused about should we focus on specific person or qualities, here is the answer. Yeah, and Titi, you have written series of simplified books on Neville Simplified, Power
Yes,
and Freedom. So could you please explain a bit about that?
I love those ones. So back when we wrote those three, so the second and the third, the Power and the Freedom, both of those, we took lectures that Neville spoke, but nobody had previously transcribed. So we transcribed them, which was the biggest part of the work. And then I basically took a little bit of Neville, and then I shared what I get from it. And I took a little bit of Neville, and I shared what I went with it. And I think those little ebooks and our PDFs are still 40 pages, if something like that. They're small, but they're detailed enough that you can read one or two little sections and go, oh wow, let me ponder that and let it sink in and let it grow.
Amazing. Because Neville's is like literature. The language could be like, little biblical, all that. So
Yep.
when I started reading your articles, when I started subscribing to your newsletters, after that comes, so here is cool TT. Enjoy. This is
That's
TT
water.
for us friends. Yes.
That's water, by the
Live the
way.
life. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. But all I said is here is TT who is very cool. That's what I said. I didn't guess. I did not guess what is inside it. Okay. So TT, these books and your articles, especially the newsletters, even if one day, friends, I don't receive the newsletter, I ping him. TT, hey TT, today I did not receive my newsletter. Could you please send? Like almost 4 5 years, the first thing I do in the morning is to open my phone and read what's at today in today's newsletter. So that's been my learning. Thanks for simplifying Neville for us, Titi. And here comes my favorite course and my favorite question. Could you please talk about Manifesting Mastery course?
Wow. So when we made manifestingmasterycourse.com, here was my intent. If you came to Australia and you stayed in our little cottage, this is what I would share with you every morning over a cup of coffee. Okay. Just something short, something simple, something doable. The whole design of the course is, you get maybe a 10-minute lesson. You can read along if you want to. You can listen to it. And then I tell you, go out and do something for a couple minutes here, a couple minutes there. No big deal. And that's exactly what I would do if you were staying in the cottage. I'd come out, good morning, hey, here's your coffee. Let's have a little chat. Are you clear about everything? Yep, okay, cool. I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, wow.
And making it like that made it easy because so many people try to eat the whole buffalo at once. And the best way to eat a buffalo is one bite at a time.
Now I got it. And Neville has a different approach because he simplified the scriptures and made it to understand like it's about you. And you simplified Neville to understand with all these courses, TT. And having background of NLP, did that help? Should one need?
It's helped me tremendously. I don't really suggest to most people that they bother studying it anymore. There's some good stuff with NLP, but a lot of what's being taught now is garbage, just to be blunt. Oh. And when I get on Facebook, I'll see something like an ad like, download this free ebook with 32 NLP scripts. And it's like, that's not what it's about. NLP in the old days, when I learned it, was about noticing. Like noticing how somebody processes things in very specific ways so you can help optimize that. And so like today when everyone's learning scripts and stuff, it's just like, man, nah, it's not what it's about. It's about, what is life about? Life is about really noticing. So it's really served me because I learned how to model from some of the old school NLP people. But I really, I think the NLP is what's really helped me to learn how to share how Neville thought, not just what he taught, and how I think, not just what I think. And yeah, that makes all the difference.
Awesome, awesome. And Titi, you explain about gratitude money, putting in the wallet, then it double it over a period. So can you please explain about that money aspect, like how it helps a person to change their mindset towards money?
I think what I love about the Attitude Money Project is the first phase of it. I tell people now, just take $100 and put it in your wallet and
Okay.
carry it around.
Step number one,
Yep.
take $100 and put it in the wallet. Okay. Then?
Yep. And so what happens when people do that, they get to experience what it's like always having money.
Okay. Okay.
And the cool thing is, a lot of people think, oh, that'd be great. But what happens is, and here's the other thing I say, every once in a while, double it. So double it to $200, double it to $400. And first their brain goes, how am I going to double it? That's a lot of money. Cool. This just shows that you're trying to imagine the hows. Just imagine having doubled it, and I promise you, you will find, oh my God, I got an extra $100. I'll put it in now. I got $200, right? So it exposes that. But the really cool thing with the Attitude Money game is how it exposes everybody's crazy point. I had one lady, she started with like $10, and when she got up to 50, she was terrified that her husband was going to steal it. And it's like, yeah, you get what you're imagining. You're imagining what's keeping you poor because your husband's going to run off with it. And she came back and she said, you're right. I actually imagine my husband running off. So I make sure we're always in debt so he can't. And it's like, oh, here we go. And it's just learning to notice this crazy stuff, like the girls giggled in Manifesting Mastery Lesson 1. It's learning to notice what you're imagining that you don't know you're imagining that gives you the freedom. And that little exercise is sweet for that when it comes to wealth.
Yes. And I like the way you dig into the deep-rooted pattern and help people to manifest what they want. And any suggestions for manifesting one's desires, Titi? Because you have been exploring this subject, I don't know since when. So what are the best practices to manifest one's desires?
Wow. I think that the number one thing, and it's funny you mention all the Neville Goddard groups out there now, because when I first got on Facebook and started exposing Neville, I think there were like 5 groups, and immediately 2 of them made me a moderator, and then I formed my own group after I got kicked out of another group because they were doing some really wacky shit. But way back then, I was the only person talking about the pearl of great price. And to me, that is the core of all of it, because when you get everything in your life is there because of something that you've imagined. Everything, no exceptions. You are in my life because of something I imagined. I am in your life because of something you imagined. Whenever you get that, there's no coincidences anymore. There's no excuses. There's no exceptions. And when you get that, the methods work all the time easily. But until you get that, you go, yeah, but if you don't get that, then it's like, well, like sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it works better for other people, but not for me. It works better for when I imagine for other people, but not myself. And it's like, no. You just got to buy the pearl. No exceptions. None at all. You get that attitude. And then my big thing is, My best practice before I got out of bed, this morning, I imagined a kick-ass podcast. I imagined a kick-ass show. I imagined a kick-ass interview with you. And I nail these things before I get out of bed. And then my day goes awesome. I never get out of bed and go, oh, I need a coffee, I'm cranky. Nah, before I get out of bed, I nail it, and I nail it, and I nail it, and then I get out of bed. So that would be my biggie, that, and just stick with the tools. Let it be simple.
Yes. And Titi, you often talk difference about affirmation, vision board, of course, BORED. You spell it
Yes.
correctly. Vision
Yep.
board and feel it real. Don't you think they work? A lot of people have a lot of success stories with vision board and affirmations as well. So what is the mechanism? Is it feel it real because they felt it real that got manifested, or the vision board or the affirmation? Can you please
Yep.
share your
So
perspective?
here's the cool thing. Whatever you're really feeling real, you get that in life. Every time, no exception. When I talk to people that use vision boards, they'll say, oh, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Same with affirmations. Well, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Well, it's like when you drive your car. When you drive your car and you turn the steering wheel, the car turns. If you put on the indicator or the turn signal, the car may or may not turn. So the indicator the indicator is just politeness. The indicator is just the indicator. So, I've driven 20, 30 miles with my indicator on out in the country. And I've also in the city turned without an indicator and had people flip me the finger because, oops, sorry, I goofed. But the indicator, the turn signal, none of that matters. What matters is what actually steers the car. And what actually steers the car is you turning the steering wheel. And you are consciousness, and the steering wheel is what are you feeling real?
Friends, please rewind it and watch these sentences. Hear it over and over. Titi has revealed the biggest secret. Yeah. And Titi, what is this law? What is the promise?
Wow. So the law is about manifesting. And the law, pretty much, if you just sum it up, is this. You get to become one with who you've chosen to be. So when I stopped wanting a BMW and became one with being a BMW owner, I had one for the weekend. And I've had it ever since. So with the law, you become one with who you've wanted to be. With the promise is realizing your oneness with God. And when you get that, your concept of God dissolves, your concept of you dissolves, and you really get, oh my God, awareness of being is God. Consciousness is the only reality. And you really get it. You really get that you're the Father giving birth to everything, giving life to dead states. And it's cool. The other side of the coin with the promise, Neville talks about a series of events. And what it really struck me about Neville, I remember when I experienced, it was like the lightning bolt going from my head to the sacrum and coming back up, and it felt like a snake coming up and a smashing into the skull. And when that was happening, that's one of the events of the promise. I was terrified I was going to die, and I also wasn't. I got that I wouldn't die. But I remember reading Neville saying, yep, I thought I was going to die. It shook me to the core, and I thought I was going to die. And that's one of the series of the events in there, and they're very literal. And when they happen to you, you really get, oh my God, I've been stuck in this tomb of my head. You're thinking about everything instead of realizing, man, I can roll the rock away and actually get that I give life to it all.
Awesome.
And there we are.
And Titi, like, about this science also, I'm very curious to again, let this get recorded. I know your views about science, so they like wait for the science, look for the science. Once a person imagination, wait for the science. So your perspective about the science are different. Do they follow? Do they like? What is it this about? Can you please help? To
Sure.
understand and remove the misconceptions about the science.
I don't even bother noticing them. So for me, there's the wish fulfilled. There's the bridge that gets you there. Neville talks about a bridge of incidents. And then there's these things that people notice that they call signs. When I imagined being a BMW owner, I almost, God, it was a couple hours or the next day or something, I felt the urge to go online, and I found the first BMW I saw on carsales.com.au, I know was my car. And it was at a ridiculously cheap price. And and the story behind that's just amazing. But it's like, I didn't take seeing the picture as a sign. It was a step. If I was looking for signs, I'd go, okay, I'm imagining being a BMW owner, and I walk up to the letterbox and I see a BMW drive past, and I go, mine's coming. I just saw one. Well, that's fun. But what happens the next day when I go up to the letterbox and I see a Volkswagen? It's like, oh man, I had a Volkswagen. It was a shit car. Oh no. And then you get lost versus like, right, I know when I've nailed something, it's nailed. It's like our interview. I knew when you and I nailed it, it was nailed. Done. Here we are. I didn't look for a sign. I didn't go, oh, is he on Facebook? Is he, yeah, there's a guy that looks like him. It's like, nah. It's like, right. Here we are.
Yes. And Titi, there is this problem I often listen. My wish was almost manifested, but in the last moment it went away. Like I was about to get a contract, but in the last moment it went. This often happens to me. What happened? I visualized. So what is a person doing the mistake there that almost manifested and manifested? What's the difference there?
Mm. Ah, boy, that was good. So it's like almost taking a drink of water.
Wow, that's
When I really nail taking a drink of water, I can't help but experience that. Now, here's the cool thing. Action of self predominant. I look at my water bottle. I can't pick what molecule of water I'm going to drink. Whatever molecules of water come out, I don't care. So what I'm imagining is, and you heard it, there it is,
yes.
right?
Yes.
So if you're imagining up a contract and the contract doesn't come through, you're imagining up a middle. But on the other hand, if you're imagining, like literally, if you're imagining continuous business growth, whatever contracts you need, you're going to get. Because it's never about that contract. That contract is like that girl, that special person, that molecule of water. If you remember, I imagined being a BMW owner. And once I nailed that, and then I saw my car. I didn't go, oh my God, that car, that car, that car, that car. No, I became a BMW owner. And then that took me to a website. And then that had me call the guy on the website. And when I went in, here's what's funny. I drove the car around the parking lot.
Okay.
I went in and I said, I'll take it. Except for one thing. The tires aren't right.
Yes.
Right? And he goes, the tires are all right. It passed its inspection. I said, whatever. Right? So how do you want to pay? I want to pay cash. Cash? Yeah, cash. Right? So, all right. So I guess he's expecting financing. So I pull out the cash and he goes, we got a problem. I says, this ought to be fun. He goes, your car isn't inspected. And I said, really? He goes, I put it up. you called like an hour later. Nobody ever calls that fast. We didn't get it inspected before you got here, so we have to inspect it. So I pay him for the car. A day goes by, 2 days go by. I call him up and he goes, the guy's name's Tom Sawyer of all the things. Tom says, you know, we repaired a little wee chip on the windshield. You probably didn't notice. I didn't notice. And we replaced the tires. Of course you did, because my BMW doesn't have shit tires on it.
Yes.
And that's the way it always works. I'm a BMW owner. When you come to Australia and you get in my car, you'll notice a couple things. One, there's a lot of dog park in the back of it because I take the dogs to the park every day and I don't clean the car all that often. And two, you'll notice I've got great tires on my car because I'm just a little nuts when it comes to tires.
Okay.
So that's how it works. I'm a BMW owner.
And Titi, you have manifested, now you are an Australian citizen. So
Yes.
could you please tell this story behind how did you manifest it? What went ahead?
Cool. So here would be the mistake. I'm imagining submitting the paperwork. Here's the other mistake. I'm imagining the interview went okay. Here's the other mistake. I'm imagining acing the interview. Those are all middles. Those are all along the way. I didn't imagine any of that, even though it all went smooth, right? I imagined voting.
Voting.
Because,
So friends, please give, please notice the minute details TT is telling. He did not imagine paperwork or visa or anything else. He imagined himself voting. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, TT.
Now I had to take the test. I had to do the interview. I had to submit 3 inches of paperwork. Yeah, all that's the mechanics. Who cares about that? Those are the bridges.
Yeah.
But I imagine voting, right? So, because in Australia, only citizens can vote and citizens have to vote or else they fine you. So I'm imagining voting. So time goes on. I become a citizen. I became a citizen, I think, 2 years ahead of schedule. And that's another weird story. But after I became a citizen, we didn't have to vote for another 1.5 years. So what happens is when you imagine what implies your wish is fulfilled, like Neville teaches, that doesn't always happen. That doesn't always happen on a timely basis. But I got citizenship, and then 1.5 years later, I got to vote. And I'm not a fan of voting, so just like, yep, tick the box, let me out of here, I'm going to go home. So how cool is that?
Yes, amazing. So, a few more questions, Titi. I'm almost exhausted out of questions because you almost clarified everything. And okay, a lot of people say that, I'm a failure. I could not nail my interview. In continuation with this, I missed out this person. I could not marry the person I want, or like, what? How do we should we revise our failures, or should we focus on still the end? But failures do, and is there something called failure?
Boy, what a goody question.
Uh,
I don't experience failure the way most people do. And I bet you know that because you asked the question like you did. So for me, if I notice we can't pick the house.
mhm.
I don't bother picking the house.
Okay.
But we can pick the end. And
And
so when you pick the end and when it's all about you, so the end to me is always something like, I've got a job that I love, or I'm a happy, loving husband, or I'm a BMW owner. And so what happens along the way is maybe you have a job interview and that one doesn't work out. And then you get a different job that you love, and then the first company folds in 6 months. And you go, wow, I'm glad I didn't get that job. For me, that's what I notice all the time, stuff like that. So as long as it's about me, and as long as I'm putting a lot of buns in the oven, I'm putting buns in the oven every day, I really don't have time to notice if there's a loss. The only thing I can notice is, am I in my state?
so that was my next question. So what is the difference between mood, state, and emotions.
Cool. So emotions, let's just say emotions are like a byproduct. I'm happy talking to you.
Yeah.
But if a plane goes by, I might go, fuck, man. Like, you know, there's an emotion. No big deal. All right? The emotions come, emotions go. They're like ping pong balls. But the state is, you see, I'm going to go inside when we're done, and Victoria's going to say, how'd it go? And I'm just going to tell her it went fucking awesome, right? I'm going to be that blunt. It was awesome, right? I've already imagined that. So you can feel my mood. You can tell what my state is. Mood to me is the same as state. What's my mood? I'm in the mood to teach. I'm in the mood to share with my friend. I am in the mood to enjoy this hot tub. And so we do it all at the same time. And that to me is the cool thing, because emotions, there are times during the day as loving teacher, I'm going, well, they just get it. And then I imagine lovingly. But that emotion shows up, I don't resist it. I just notice, damn it, they're making it hard. Stop it. And then I just, all right, stop it. Love ya. Keep going. Let it be easy. Do what I'm telling you. And that's the key, because the question I often hear is, does a bad emotion block what you're doing? What's a bad emotion? Somebody spray paints my fence, I'll just go, that fucker, right? Like, I'll be upset for a second, and then it's like, all right, I'll imagine my fence being nice and pretty again. But I'll have that emotion because I care about my fence. I care about my garden. So, all right, bad emotion, no big deal. Now, if I stayed there for 6 months, and then I got all upset about the hoodlums and so on, now I'm going to imagine I have problems, because my mood really changed then. It's not just a passing emotion. So that's where I'd play.
Amazing. And Titi, let's say someone has debts to pay, okay, and their bank balance is less or minus or whatsoever. How could a person feel it real? How could a person get into the state of imagination, of wish fulfill? How about here comes the emotions, here comes the impatience. When even if they imagine, suddenly it comes like, oh my God, logic creeps in, and impatient, a person might become impatient. So how to deal with that?
Yep. So, I've got that new course we put out last year, dreamdrivenday.com. And what I keep telling people now, and again, I keep learning by teaching. This is a big thing, and I know you get this. You learn when you teach. And I've discovered that if we let whatever your wish is be about you and an event in your day, this gets so much easier. So here's my thing. Ready? If you doubled your income and worked half the time, if you had no debt and enough money in the bank to have no concerns about it, how would you buy peanut butter? How would you buy petrol? How would you? I went to the bank yesterday to take care of some business, and then I stopped and I dropped some crap off at this Goodwill container, like used clothing and stuff. And I saw a friend of mine who was working in the bottle shop. So I swung in and I walked in, and they had this collectible Game of Thrones whiskey on sale, 3 bottles for $200. And I said, Jeremy, give me that one, and that one. Now, here's why I mention all that. Having no concern about debt, having no concern about bank balance, I get to go to the bank, take care of some business, drop some crap off at the recycle bin, go buy 3 really nice bottles of whiskey at a fantastic price, because originally they were about $120 each. So I got them for about half price, what I love to do. And
yes, I keep observing your experiments. Yes.
Yeah, totally. And again, it all comes down to, I'm not focused on debt or debt-free or bank balance. I'm just talking right. If I'm making great money and I see 3 bottles of whiskey I want, I'm buying them. And so anytime you can make it about a typical event in your day, what would be different if you didn't have any debt and you had enough money? Oh, fuck, I'd buy the peanut butter I want. Oh, I wouldn't get the crap on sale. All right, I'd get the good stuff.
And Titi, could you please tell about the course and the website name once again? Just now you have mentioned about the
Oh, that is
recent
that is dreamdrivenday.com. That's
dreamdrivenday.com. Okay.
Yep. Now that's my worst website because if you go there right now, you won't see a darn thing. So I've got it all hidden away right now. But sooner or later, I'll get some pretty stuff back up on there because we're going to open up the doors again for that next month. But
Okay.
just letting you know, you won't see nothing.
Okay. And so I think we are done with all the questions. Thanks for patiently answering all these questions. So, friends, I'm sure a lot of people got benefited with this series of the questions. Freeneville.com. Let me repeat, freeneville.com. There is tons and tons and tons of free information and amazing series of products, Manifesting Mastery and Feel It Real pack, and the Neville Simplified series, lovely short books. This I highly recommend, and there are various other products based on your requirement. You can explore them. And TT also has a group called Law of Attraction by Neville Goddard, right?
That's it.
You can yeah, just simple go to Facebook and search 2020. You are there. You have got his group and all that. Lovely group with 40,000 plus members, always active. Thank you very much, Tete. It's been lovely talking to you, and thanks a lot for your time.
Oh, this has been great. Thank you for bugging me to do it because I know I am really tough to get to do things. So just thank you for your persistence.
Yes. This is my manifestation.
Yay!
Imagine this. Yes, it happened.
There we go.
Yes, thank you. Yeah. So we are done with Titi. We may pause the interview.
Cool.
Right. Wow.
Thank
That
you.
was
That was
awesome.
wonderful.
Yes, this question, it was like manifestation course by itself, Titi.
Yeah. Totally. I'm with you.
See,
I'm with you.
if someone watches this, he or she has got all that TT stuff in a single interview. Awesome.
You know, it's really wild because I decided last year that I wasn't going to do any interviews unless they were with rock stars, right? So I just got right. So no interviews unless they're total rock stars. And so, of course, you pop up, and it's like, yeah, I'd love to, but I'm busy, right? You pop up again, I'd love to, but I'm busy. You pop up, it's like, I'd love to, let's set it up.
Yes.
And I got to tell you, I had so much fun. Your questions were great. And I just want to thank you for getting the message out there because I know you're blessing a lot of people.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, Titi. And again, it helped me to overcome my own limiting beliefs on certain things when I was asking, hey, man, like this shit. Titi, before we end, just as this is not about the recording part of the recording. So like you every day you read Neville, even after these many years. What keeps you driving that? Like every day, oh, Neville books, I have already read them long back. No, that's not what 2020 does. You keep reading it every single day. And you say that even now, it's new to you, but it's always exploring. Like Bob Proctor keeps says, even after 58 years, he has been reading Think and Grow Rich, and he learns from it. Again, it's something new for him. So could you please share something about it?
Yep. I'm infinitely curious. You get when you and I connect on the call, I'm infinitely curious about you, where we're going to go. That's why I don't need the list of questions.
Yes.
I just want to be with you when you show up and when you ask and where we go. And to me, it's the same thing because it's like, here's a guy that took the time to write out all this stuff, to go on stage a couple hundred times and share what his latest discoveries were. And it's like, man, I have the opportunity to take, I don't read more than 10 or 15 minutes a day.
Okay.
But I've got the opportunity.
But you are consistent.
Like like drinking coffee
Yes.
every day. And every day the coffee's a little different, and yet every day it's the same. And that,
Okay.
that to me is the big thing. Just being curious, feeding that, like just acknowledging that hunger. And I think my third thing, by the way, I'm recording this as well for you.
Mhm.
Feel free to use this because this is some
Yeah,
good shit.
sure. Yes.
Uh, that infinite hunger, that infinite curiosity leads to, I don't chase happiness with this. I feed enjoyment. Wow is right? When we first brought it up in Dream Driven Day, people's brains like popped. Because it's like, as long as you chase happiness, you're chasing. But the minute you get that this is not about chasing happiness, this is about feeding joy. This is why your smile gives to people. Because you're not
Yes.
hoping that they'll smile back. You're actually, damn, you show up and they can't help but smile back. They can't help but be blessed because you're enjoying them, enjoying you, enjoying them, enjoying you, enjoying them. And
Amazing.
that's,
I had this, like, I want to interview 100 experts from various fields, and suddenly, automatically, I receive this like 2020 pops up in my mind, and I just ping you, hey TT, I want to interview you. Could you please give me some of your valuable time? And then comes, I had to wait, and I was not anxious. I think I can learn from this experience for myself over and over, like what happened, what did happen, how did I operate this, and learn from my own experience.
so I have a request for you.
Yeah, please.
Let's do it again in a couple months.
Yeah, TT, you're not going to believe. Just now, I thought, hey TT, again, would you give me another interview after a few months?
Yeah. Let's explore who we are and how this works and what's happening then too.
Definitely, TT. It would be amazing. And could you please I think I need to make a note of this. This I don't know why this is over and over striking my mind. Day2dream.com.
Say again?
The course that you have been mentioning, Day to
Oh,
Dream, Dream
dreamdrivenday.com.
dreamdrivenday.com. I don't know. This is pulling me a lot. Dreamdrivenday.com. Okay.
Cool.
Wanna. Okay, Titi. Thanks for your wonderful time.
Uh,
And whenever you get time, please share the recording. And I would love to upload and share it with my audience.
cool.
And also see you one day in Australia.
Let's do it. Take care, my friend.
Yes. Okay. Bye, Titi. You're doing amazing job and you're an inspiration. Thank you.
Be blessed.